This is Susan DeBell, and Susan is a past lives regression therapist. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
And here we are.
Here we are.
We're in Manhattan, on East 58th Street. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Susan, can you tell me? Now your website, I think says in between lives. Is that right?
Yes.
Can you tell me? And these are in the, oh yes.
This is everybody knows the Brian Weiss. Many life, many masters.
Yes, I read the book and I loved it.
It is incredible.
It's incredible.
Michael Newton was a therapist, and he was working with different clients with hypnosis. He, by accident, he saw that, he was doing hypnosis.
Yes.
His clients went to other lives.
Yeah.
And then he started using it. And very soon after, he noticed that his patients would go in between lives.
Yes.
Where after they have died and before they are reborn again. He became very interested, and he started seeing clients and emphasizing on that. He had seen something like 3,000 clients, and based on that he had this theory. His first book is Journey of Souls, and his therapy is called Life Between Life. That's a place that you go when you die, and you go over what you have done in your past life, and if you were able to do the things that you were supposed to do, like the lessons that you were supposed to come here and learn, or the lessons that you hadn't learned and you were supposed, and they worked with you there, and you were supposed to come here and and this time learn to deal with them differently. It is development of soul.
Yes.
His main interest is from the time you die and you go to another world to the time that you choose the life that you're going to come into, and you are very active participant of choosing the lives, even the lives that are very difficult.
Yes, that is something, that is a very interesting question. I read this book, and I've always been fascinated with the subject. I just always have been. And there's just no question. Of course, this is what occurs. And the thing that is a conundrum to me is exactly what you just said. Why would someone choose to go into a very difficult life?
Sometimes for several lives, maybe 10, maybe more lives, you're stuck. Then you have a choice, and each time it becomes harder. Then you have a choice, because we call it hard life. But our body is not really important.
Yes.
Our body is a clothes, is a dress for our soul. And our soul has developmental stages from childhood to adolescence and to maturity. Now, in this life we forget. We think, our body in this life is the most important, and the other world doesn't exist, is not our concern. We get so involved with this life that we forget that why we are coming
Mm.
here. And we do a lot of mistakes.
Mhm.
Now, when we are out of our body, we remember. This becomes like a dream and not important.
Mm.
What we take with us and what we learn is important.
Mm.
So when you are there and you see 20 lives, you came and you weren't able to do anything, to do much, you may choose a harder life. Because hardships bring maturity.
You learn from that.
Yes.
What about people who choose to do evil, horrible things?
It is you who do it.
Now, in your present life, not
Yes.
like a serial killer or Hitler. Why would
You have choices. There is a reason for you to come in there.
choices.
You have always choices.
So it's not like you're destined to be this.
There are certain things that are destined.
There
like
are.
for example, in my practice, I have seen people who were abused.
Yeah.
Like for example, physically abused or even sexually abused. They were, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes they did it to someone else.
Yes, sure.
So this is to learn. Everything is educational here. For their soul to learn that how the victim felt.
And then the person they're perpetrating it on, the innocent person also has this horrible experience.
Yes, they would have, but this time this person,
Yes.
the person who had done it, this is one of my cases.
Yes.
The person that had sexually abused someone
Mhm.
in this life was abused.
Yes.
Now, the terror and horror is somehow that their soul understand that this is how it affects other people, and this is wrong. So they would
yes.
never ever do it again.
In another life?
In other lives, they would never ever do it.
Oh, okay.
I think, I haven't seen it, but I'm positive that in one of my lives, I physically abused a child.
Yes.
And then the same thing happened to me, and I learned it because as a child even, when I was frustrated, and one time I wanted to hit my sister, my hand was frozen. And I was a teenager, and I didn't know I was a kid, like 12, 13 years old, and I wanted to hit myself instead of her, because something in me yelled.
Wow.
And I didn't know what it was. I was frozen. So I think because of that, now that I look back and see my life, I think I have, I had learned to keep my frustration and not take it on the kids. And that lesson, I know that, I'm very, very sure that it was through doing it and somebody else doing it to me, to be both sides.
Yeah.
So some things, some things would happen for education.
Yes.
But we are here only for education of our soul. That is why I I became past life. I learned how to do past life regression, and I learned how to be life between lives. Therapist, because there you see, they are souls that are coming with you, or some lives they come with you and they are the same level as you, and they are you like, for example, you see someone and you feel so close to them.
Yes, like you know them.
Yes, so well. That's a soul that is in your group, and and you don't remember it now, but your soul recognizes it.
Yes.
There they teach you, they let you see what you had done and teach you what effects it would have. And what do you need to do. Whatever tools you need, you can learn there. And then there is a kind of there would be a meeting, and in this meeting they would decide exactly what kind of things you need to do, and then they give you opportunity of with your guide. Your guide is always there to help you. They would help you to choose according to what you want to learn, and you have more motivation there than here. According to that, they give you different possibilities, different life, families, and and countries and milieu.
Yes.
And you choose with your guide which one, and you can even sometimes put yourself in those, and decide which one would help you most to achieve what you want to achieve. Nothing is in itself. There is a system.
Yeah.
And you do, you are a part of the system. If this person is doing that, you need to look at what is happening. Then maybe part of it is your fault, and you need to take the responsibility for it and change those kind of things.
Sure.
Well,
And
how
it's
did
very-
you become interested in past life regression, or because it is strange, you haven't done it, she
No,
hasn't
no.
done it, but you want to.
Carrie actually did. She actually did once. She did have an experience with someone who did have. Carrie and I both, part of our attraction to each other is we love this entire world, the entire world. And I, myself, she has explored it a great deal more than I have. I think I'm far more analytical.
I'm analytical too.
Of course, you must be, because you're a therapist. So I have never pursued doing the past life regression thing, even though I'm thoroughly fascinated with it, and it's as normal to me as anything. It's just part of reality.
Yes.
It just is.
Yes, an interesting reality.
It's endlessly fascinating, and everything in this world, everything. But I have pursued really none of it, because I don't know why. Not that I don't want to. I think it's always been like, well, I guess when the time is right, the right person. Because of course there are a lot of people out there that claim they do a lot of things, and I know I'm not interested in just going to anybody for anything. I don't go have my palm read or do tarot. I don't do any of that. That's not interesting to me.
I don't believe on those.
I don't either. I think there are people. Obviously, there are people who genuinely have psychic ability,
Um,
but it's very rare.
I have seen things that is very, very, strange. Especially people saying things about the past.
Yes.
But I always thought, so what?
I agree with you. The more you talk about
I
it,
know my life.
yes, it's almost as mundane, when you demystify it, and that's why I think this is so important, because the more you look into it, it's not this sort of, people putting these attachments to it like it's magic or it's the occult or it's not, whatever. Actually, it's as normal as your present life. It's really as mundane, really, as your present life.
Soul is more real than this life. The other life is more real than this life, because when you live it, you see it, you experience it.
That's
This
when you're in
life,
between lives.
when you are out of your body, you experience, people, and I experience it that way. I want to go home. This is not my home.
I completely relate to that. I'm looking forward to that.
This becomes like a dream.
It is a dream.
And it is not important. You want to go. That is really real, and that is really important. But for me, knowing that what I did before,
Mm-hmm.
somebody else look at me and say I did before, that's not interesting.
No, because it isn't. This is important now, and that what you did. I mean, that wasn't really. It isn't you really. It's an aspect of you, right? It's an aspect of your consciousness, because it wasn't you as Susan DeBell or me as Angela Muto in the Middle Ages or whatever, as a wet nurse or whatever I was, a toll booth collector in 19. I'm sure everything I did was very boring. But
past life
yes.
regression, you see it.
But you see it.
You experience it. Somebody doesn't tell you.
Yeah.
You see it, and then you look and you say, okay, I wasn't able to do anything there.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't do anything here, if I don't the same dynamic with the same people, with the different people, if I don't learn how to change it and make it more a better relationship,
Yeah.
then the next life and the next life and the next life and the next life. Am I going to to go through the same miserable thing?
Yes. Yeah.
Over and over.
Yes,
Before it was my mother and my father and me. Now it is my mother-in-law and this person and me.
Isn't that something?
Yes, you see it. But somebody tells me this. Is it useful? No.
Right.
It won't be useful. Somebody tells me about this life, about my past, wouldn't be useful. Somebody tells me, for example, that you're afraid of nature because you died several times in that nature. I don't know if it is true or not, and I just put it away.
Yes.
I can't do anything with it. But when I see it, experience it, and experience the horror, then I do understand when I go there, how come all my body is uncomfortable.
And how does and now that you know this, it's a coping tool. It helps you feel more rational in the situation and more in control in the situation.
And tell myself it was another life. life.
You tell yourself it was another life. It's
This
not.
life is
It's not this
safe.
life. You're not going to have an earthquake here. You're not in a wheelchair here. You're not going to be buried in a box alive.
Yes.
You know that now. So that's
And
what you
you
gain
don't-
from this.
Yes, and you don't go in places that are not safe. You walk where other people are. You make yourself safe.
Yeah.
So, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? You make yourself safe.
Right.
So that would be helpful for me.
Very. If that is right. Obviously, if something's preventing you from doing something in your life that is important,
But that is just a little.
and that's just a little bit of
little
it.
bit.
That's just a
It's
little
not-
piece of the puzzle.
Yes. But do you know if I know? Do you know if I know? I have to do certain things in this life.
Yes.
Then that's helpful.
Yes.
Then I can work with it. I can think it. I can strategize for it. I can, make a treatment plan for myself.
Yeah.
I have something to work with.
And Carrie, of course, is the host, and she's so
She's
lovely.
very, very funny.
She's hysterical. And I always say to her, she is so gifted because she's so funny but she's delightful, and she's just your friend, and she just is, She's a wonderful person.
When I saw those, I felt, comfortable.
I'm so glad, yes. That's just who she is. She's no different. That's always who she is.
You have to learn your own lessons. You have to develop your own soul. Your own soul is important, needs to be important for you, and you hold it, and you develop it, and you guard it. You try not to put, garbage in it.
Try not to put garbage in it.
Yes, it is that. That's as and your soul. If you are your soul, and
You are your soul.
yeah, you're your soul. If your
Yep.
soul, but sometimes our attention is so, so much out that, we kind of make a barrier.
Yeah.
Don't listen to, our soul. Don't allow
Is it fear?
the influence. No, because we are so amazed with, with this. Life is, life becomes like the only thing exists. Nothing is
Nothing.
True, except us right now, that we are, communicating right here.
Yes.
I have to pay my bills. I have to do this. I have to. Then, then you don't have much of it. You just don't separate from, from that. You don't think about, your soul, and you don't allow your soul to, to have influence on you.
Thank you. Should I? Well, this is Susan DeBell, and where our session is, and I'm gonna have coffee.
Bye.
Thank you, Susan. You're so great.
All right.